Language is a means of communication. We can't really imagine what we would do if we knew no language. There are hundreds of languages in the world, yet some are rarely spoken, and some are more common. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 languages that are spoken in most of the world. English. On number 1, we have chosen English. Since English is an international language, it is spoken by a majority. Even if English isn't their mother tongue, most countries teach English in schools. Everything we see today is communicated mostly in the English language. From social media to famous books, we need to know English to understand everything. From education systems to business, English has its own significance. If two people from different ethnicities meet and speak different languages, they have only one hope, which is English language. English is a means to communicate with people speaking different languages. There are almost 370 million people who are native English speakers, while 978 million people are those who learn it as a second language. English literature is famous around the world. Let it be Jane Austen's classic novels or Shakespeare's words, English dominates the world today. Chinese. On number 2, we have Chinese. We all know that China is the most populated country in the whole world. So, with common sense, we can understand that people speaking Chinese have a great number. Chinese is spoken mostly in China, Taiwan, and Singapore. It is a tonal language. Often the meaning changes when the way it's pronounced changes. There are 1.3 billion native Chinese-speaking people. Chinese is also considered to be taught in schools in different countries since it is so widely spoken. If you see a Chinese speaker, though you can't understand their language, the sounds they make are fascinating and also associated with their specific Chinese features. Chinese is considered one of the most difficult languages to learn, but it's still quite interesting. Hindi. Hindi is the main language of India. India is a populated country, and hence, the Hindi-speaking people are quite a lot too. Do you remember the British rule in India? British not only took spices and other valuables, they have also borrowed words from Hindi language into English, e.g. guru, jungle, cheetah, yoga, and many more. Sanskrit is a very old language and has its influence on Hindi, as well as other languages that were spoken in the subcontinent. In the subcontinent, languages had an influence on other languages spoken at the time. This is why even the word Hindi is from Persian language, which means land of the Indus River. There are almost 615 million native Hindi speakers. Hindi has similarities with other Asian languages, especially when it comes to sounds. Spanish. We all know how famous the Spanish language is. It is so popular on social media and especially on Instagram, where you'll find phrases from the Spanish language and a large number of users don't know Spanish at all. Spanish is the second most studied language in the world, and 22 countries speak Spanish as their official language. Learning Spanish throughout the world is getting popular since it's considered the most easy language to learn, especially for English speakers. There are 534 million Spanish-speaking people right now, and the number is increasing. Spanish is a Romance language. Don't consider the literal meaning. Romance languages are those that evolved from Latin. Romance languages have similarity between them. Spanish specifically have lesser differences from Latin as compared to other Romance languages. Arabic. Arabic is spoken by almost all Muslims, since the holy book of Muslims, Quran, is in Arabic language, and this is why Muslims even memorize Arabic phrases from the Quran. Also, the Hadith were originally written in Arabic too. Arabic is named after Arabs. Arabic is the official language of 26 countries and is widely spoken as well as learnt throughout the world. In the Middle Ages, Arabic has been a means of communication through speech and written scriptures, especially science, mathematics, and philosophy. This is why Arabic words are borrowed into many different languages. Persian, Urdu, and some other Asian languages are closely related to Arabic. Arabic poetry is famous throughout the world and is translated into many different languages, mostly English. French. On number 6, we have French. Like Spanish, French is also very popular, and random phrases have been picked by non-speakers. The French language is also a Romance language. It has evolved from Latin. Learning French is easy. French is spoken by 220 million people in this world, so learning this language is beneficial anyway. People from all over the world love French literature and movies, and many of them are non-speakers. French, being a leading world language, is taught in universities like other leading languages. French words are taken up by the English language, though mispronounced by most English speakers, but they really adore French language as well as French culture. French is influenced by other languages, including Arabic, where almost 500 words are borrowed from Arabic to French, but they're spoken every day that most speakers don't even know that these words are actually from Arabic language. Portuguese. On number 7, we have Portuguese. It is spoken by 274 million people in the whole world, including both native and non-native people. Portuguese has its effects on almost all continents. It is the official language of 9 countries. It has been honored to be the fastest-growing language after English. Since Portugal and Spain have past associations with Islamic Moors, Portuguese is highly influenced by Arabic language. We have a lot of borrowed words from Portuguese in our English language. Portuguese finds its root back to the community of Galicia, north of Portugal and Spain. Like French and Spanish, Portuguese is also a Romance language. Romance languages are often related to one another. So if you're interested in learning languages, consider this fact. Bengali. On number 8, we have Bengali. Bengali doesn't seem to be among one of the 10 languages, and we're sure you didn't expect it here. But for your very kind information, let us tell you that Bengali is almost the 8th most spoken language in the world. It is the official language of Bangladesh and is the 2nd most spoken language in India after Hindi. Even the Indian national anthem was written in Bengali. Bengali is strongly influenced by Sanskrit. Bengali literature has its own significance, especially old literary history. So now you know that Bengali has also found its way into the top 10 languages of the world. Russian. On number 9, we have the Russian language. It is native to Russia, and there are 150 million native speakers and 110 million speakers who learned Russian as a second language. Many Russian speakers are residents in Israel and Mongolia. The Russian language is considered to be a little difficult to learn. Russian is the 2nd most used language on the internet after English. It is also one of the 2 official languages for the International Space Station, as well as the United Nations, International Atomic Energy Agency, World Health Organization, UNESCO, and many other organizations. Japanese. Have you watched Studio Ghibli movies or other famous Japanese shows? If you have, you would know how much you want to know the Japanese language to watch them without reading subtitles. Japanese is spoken by 126 million native speakers. Outside Japan, Japanese is spoken in the US, Philippines, and Brazil. Japanese is an East Asian language. Japanese is considered to be one of the most difficult languages to learn. It's sad that there is not much known about the origin of the Japanese language. Many universities throughout the world provide opportunities to learn Japanese.